Hello and welcome to this very special interview. Joining me today is one of India's sharpest personal finance minds, Feroze Azeez, who's the Deputy CEO at Anand Rathi Wealth Management. Someone you've been following, all of you, for a very long time. And it's wonderful, Feroze, to have you here on the Money Mile. Lots of questions to ask you in these difficult times, but let's get first straight up to how important, Feroze, is it for people to first assess their risk capability? You know, one of the things this pandemic and the various investment avenues have thrown up is that in times of high risk, suddenly people say, oh my God, did I do the right thing? They don't assess what is their risk aversion at all. How important is it before investing anything in any product? And we'll talk about, some of these asset classes in a bit, but how important is it to assess your risk and how do you assess it?
So firstly, Vivek, on that point, the first point I would like to make is the myth that risk appetite is static for an individual is incorrect. I might today be riskier. I might be okay to take more risk. It might not be static through my life, one. It might not be static through different events. So understanding risk appetite of an individual, having lived with the same, if I am at an X age, I've lived with myself for those many years, but I can't today also confidently say that I understand my risk appetite. I understand my risk appetite today. I don't understand my risk appetite 10 years from now. I don't understand the risk appetite if a global financial crisis and a pandemic comes together. So it's not very static. So the reason why I'm saying this is because individuals have to respect and understand their own risks. That's point one. How do you understand risk? Understanding risk concept is simulating your portfolio. If you have a portfolio, try and simulate it. If the market is 40% down, okay, if gold is 10% higher, if 5 of the bonds you've bought went bankrupt, what is the value you're left with? That's the number you'll have to find out. Once you find that number and internalize that number and try to find out whether this is acceptable or not, when you live that, then you will get to know whether that's the stomach. Do you have that stomach to absorb this risk? So understanding it is very critical because it's dynamic. Point two, understanding can only be possible if you simulate what you currently have under circumstances which are worst case. And if that numerical value of your net worth getting washed away is acceptable to you, and you've seen that today, and if it actually ended up happening, you'll still sleep well that night. So that's your risk appetite, second. Third, how do you measure it? Before you get to measuring it, I think the chronological order is identifying them. If we asked an HNI, I'm speaking of an ultra HNI who has triple digit crores, ask him what are the risks you wish to manage. Most of them don't count the 4 or 5 risks which they wish to manage. Risk to most people's mind is only market risk. Market ka utar chadhav. There's market risk, there's credit risk, there's liquidity risk. These are the 3 most important risks. Once you've identified these 3, put a numerical way to measure it. Market risk is measured in standard deviation. To my mind, credit risk is measured in Z scores, a concept called Z scores. Liquidity risk is managed or measured in volumes. So these are the 3 risks and 3 measurements. Then you set a limit to each of these and then you manage it. People have an aspiration to manage risk without identifying the risk, identifying the measures, identifying the limits. So that's how a risk gets managed in a treasury, which sometimes I'm a part of at Anand Rathi. That's how risk is managed.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, Feroze. Thank you very much and wish you all the very best. These are difficult times. You're doing a lot of good, hard work, advising and hand-holding your customers. So wish you all the very best. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Vivek. Bye.